I needed to clear my mind and focus on spending time with Lorenzo. The evening passed with small talk on the couch and watching television together, but my thoughts kept drifting back to Tony. The memory of what had happened between us before Lorenzo came home was imprinted in my mind. My heart pounded every time I thought about it, and no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't ignore the feeling. A week later, Lorenzo was working late again, and I was home alone. The thought of almost getting caught with Tony kept playing over and over in my mind. I decided to take a bath to calm my thoughts. I lit a few candles, filled the tub with hot water, and let the steam surround me, hoping it would soothe my restless mind. But instead, memories of Tony flooded back. The way he touched me, the way he kissed me. It made me realize I needed to see him again. At that very moment, I heard a soft knock at the door. Quickly wrapping a towel around myself, I opened it. Tony stood there, that familiar smirk playing on his lips. My pulse quickened. I hadn't expected to see him. "Come in," I said, almost whispering. I couldn't help but let my eyes roam over him. I tried to hide my excitement, but my body betrayed me. As Tony stepped inside, the air between us changed. My heart was racing. "I didn't mean to interrupt," he said softly, his voice carrying a hint of something deeper. "It's fine," I replied. "I was just taking a bath." He hesitated, his gaze locking onto mine. "Well, if you don't mind, can I join you?" A fire ignited inside me. I hesitated for a brief second, but deep down I already knew my answer. Resisting was impossible. "Sure, why not?" I whispered. The moment those words left my lips, Tony's eyes darkened with desire. Slowly, he undressed and stepped into the tub. I let my towel slip off and followed him in. For a moment, we sat in the water, just inches apart, staring at each other. The tension was almost unbearable. His gaze slowly traveled over my body, making my breath hitch. I could feel the warmth radiating from his skin, the way his presence pulled me in. The space between us was closing. Then, Tony leaned in and softly brushed his lips against mine. The first kiss was slow, hesitant, but the moment our lips met, something inside me ignited. His hands slid around my waist, pulling me closer. The heat between us intensified as our kisses deepened. "You're so beautiful," he whispered, his breath warm against my lips. I shivered under his touch. "And you become more irresistible every time I see you," I murmured. I gently pushed him back against the edge of the tub and climbed onto him, my body pressing against his. Water splashed onto the floor, but I didn't care. The only thing on my mind was him. I ran my fingers down his chest, feeling the hard muscles beneath my touch. "You have no idea what you're doing to me," Tony said breathlessly. "Show me," I challenged. And just like that, we lost ourselves in each other again. Our bodies moved in perfect sync, the heat between us growing stronger. The steam surrounded us as his lips trailed down my neck, sending waves of pleasure through me. But we made a terrible mistake. We didn't hear the front door open. Suddenly, the bathroom door swung open. Lorenzo stood frozen in the doorway, his face pale with shock. His eyes darted between us, and for a few seconds, he said nothing. Then his expression changed. His shock turned into pure rage. "So this is what that noise was," he growled, his voice thundering through the room. I heard the water splashing, but I never imagined I'd walk in to find this. His voice sent a shiver down my spine. "Dad, I can explain," Tony blurted out, his voice desperate. But Lorenzo's cold, furious eyes didn't waver. He looked at Tony, then at me. "Don't call me Dad," he spat. "I have no son." Then his gaze burned into mine. "And I have no wife." I struggled to breathe. "Lorenzo, please, just calm down. Let's talk," I pleaded. "There's nothing to talk about," he snapped. "I want both of you out." With that, he stormed out of the bathroom and into our bedroom. I heard the closet doors fling open, the sound of suitcases being yanked out. He was packing our things. I was frozen in place. Tony and I quickly grabbed our towels and got out of the tub. We hurried to get dressed, but my hands were shaking. I turned to Tony, my voice barely above a whisper. "Where will you go?" He looked at me, his expression unreadable. "I'll stay with my mom," he said. "She always said I could live with her if I wanted to." My heart sank. "But what about me?" I asked, my voice cracking. Tony hesitated. Then, with a casual shrug, he said, "Something will work out for you." Tears welled up in my eyes. "So, all of this was just fun for you?" Tony avoided my gaze. "I've got to go." I couldn't believe it. He was leaving me. Wiping my tears, I took a deep breath, trying to steady myself. My hands trembled as I grabbed my phone and called my best friend Jenny. "Can I stay with you for a while?" I asked, my voice barely holding together. "Of course," she answered without hesitation. And just like that, I packed my things and walked out. As the cold night air hit my face, reality sank in. How could I have been so stupid? I had thrown away my entire life for a forbidden romance. Now I had no idea where life would take me. The only thing I knew was that I had no one to blame but myself. Share your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe to Infidelity Stories for more stories.